Mystery at T Blind Frog Ranch. The high desert sun dipped behind the jagged mountains of eastern Utah, and Blind Frog Ranch settled into its usual eerie silence. The land itself seemed to hum with secrets, caves that swallowed light, pools of water that never reflected the sky, and whispers of treasure buried deep in volcanic stone. It was here, in this strange pocket of earth, that the story of a mysterious woman began. No one in town remembered her arriving. One day, she was simply there, leaning against the weather-worn fence posts of the ranch, her wide-brimmed hat casting shadows over a face no one could clearly describe later. Some swore she had green eyes, others said blue. Some claimed her hair was golden, others that it was dark as obsidian. All agreed on one point: she didn't belong. A quiet presence for weeks, she lingered at the edges of the property. Workers noticed her prints in the red dust before dawn. Locals spoke of seeing her walking the ranch roads in the moonlight, as if mapping something invisible. No one ever heard her voice. She never approached the ranch house or the mining equipment, yet she moved as though she had more right to the land than anyone alive. Animals reacted strangely to her. Horses grew restless, dogs whimpered, and cattle would not graze near where she stood. The men at the ranch gave her a name: the Silent One. The last night then, one cold night in late autumn, everything changed. The ranch hands heard a distant scream, not loud, not desperate, but sharp and cut short, like the wind had snatched it away. They searched for hours, lanterns bobbing in the darkness, until the beams of light fell upon her body lying flat in a clearing near the underground river. She looked untouched. No bruises, no blood, no wounds of any kind. Her skin was pale as moonlight, and her lips curved slightly upward, almost as if she had died mid-smile. Her hands were folded neatly across her chest, clutching a pendant carved from what looked like black stone. No signs of death. The sheriff was called, and later doctors came. None could determine the cause. Her lungs were clear, her heart bore no signs of failure, and there were no toxins in her blood. One coroner, visibly shaken, confessed. It's as though life itself simply left her body. No reason, no struggle, no trace. And then came the most unsettling discovery. There were no records of her anywhere. No identification, no fingerprints on file, no missing person alerts. Even her clothing was hand-stitched from old patterns no one recognized. It was as if she had stepped out of another time. The pendant was unlike anything seen before. Not obsidian, not coal, not any mineral familiar to geologists. Under certain lights, it seemed to pulse faintly, as though alive. When touched, it gave off a strange warmth that lingered in the palm for hours. Etched into its surface were markings, spirals, jagged lines, and shapes resembling stars collapsing inward. A local historian insisted the designs matched no known tribe or civilization. Yet a Navajo elder, shown a sketch of the pendant, refused to comment. He only muttered, "Some things are not meant to be disturbed." The burial that wouldn't hold the ranch owners, out of respect, arranged for her to be buried at the edge of the property, near a cluster of ancient cottonwoods. The soil was soft, the grave was deep, and a wooden cross was planted above. But the next morning, the grave was open. The coffin lay empty. At first, blame fell on wild animals or grave robbers, yet there were no tracks in the earth, no signs of struggle. The pendant remained, placed neatly on top of the overturned soil. They buried her again. The same thing happened, again and again. Each time, her body vanished, leaving behind the pendant, always resting in the same position, as though deliberately set by unseen hands. After the fifth attempt, the men refused to dig another grave. Fear had seeped into their bones. The Silent One, it seemed, did not wish to remain buried. Theories whispers spread like wildfire through the small towns surrounding Blind Frog Ranch. Some believed she was an ancient guardian of the land, awoken when treasure hunters disturbed her rest. Others said she was not human at all, but a spirit or being tied to the strange energy fields that riddled the property. The scientists who had been studying the unusual electromagnetic anomalies at the ranch entertained a different theory, that she had been caught in a phenomenon beyond comprehension, a rift in reality itself. Her presence, her disappearance, even her untraceable identity could all point to something not of this world. Haunting signs months passed, and though her body never returned, the ranch did not forget her. Lanterns swayed in the darkness with no wind. Footsteps echoed across the gravel when no one was walking. Cattle huddled together at night, staring at the cottonwoods where she had been buried. The pendant, locked away in a steel chest inside the ranch house, sometimes hummed faintly. Workers claimed they could hear it at night, a low, rhythmic sound, like the beating of a distant drum. One ranch hand swore he saw her reflection in the water near the underground river, though no one stood behind him. Another refused to work after finding her hat resting on the fence post, exactly as it had been before she died. The journal thin, a discovery was made in the caves beneath the ranch. Behind a collapsed section of rock, explorers found a small leather-bound journal. Its pages were brittle, written in neat script. The entries described the land with uncanny familiarity. The hidden caverns, the flow of the river, even the strange metallic taste in the air during storms. But what unsettled everyone most was the signature at the bottom of each entry, written clearly in a name no one recognized. It was the name of the woman who had never spoken, never introduced herself, and who, as far as anyone could tell, had never been alive in the world's records. The final sight the story might have ended there, if not for what happened one stormy night. Lightning split the sky, striking the cottonwoods where she had once been buried. The trees did not burn. Instead, their bark glowed faintly, as if painted with silver fire. And in the glow, workers swore they saw her, standing tall, her wide-brimmed hat low over her eyes, holding the pendant in her hand. She did not move, did not speak. She only lifted her gaze toward the ranch house before dissolving into mist. When morning came, the pendant was gone. Legacy of the silent Ointo this day, the tale of the woman who died on Blind Frog Ranch remains unsolved. No scientific test, no historical record, no eyewitness account has ever explained her origin or her fate. Some say she was a traveler from another world, trapped in the thin veil of reality that hangs over the land. Others believe she was a guardian spirit, warning men not to dig too deep into the ranch's hidden chambers. But perhaps the truth lies somewhere else entirely, buried not in the soil of Blind Frog Ranch, but in the very fabric of mystery that binds it. Closing thought the silent one left no signs of life, no signs of death, only questions. And perhaps that was her message, that not every secret is meant to be uncovered, and not every mystery is meant to be solved. Blind Frog Ranch has always been a place where the earth hides more than gold. It hides truths too heavy for human hands to carry, and maybe, just maybe, the woman who vanished into nothing was a reminder of that. The desert air carried a strange silence across Blind Frog Ranch, a silence too heavy for an ordinary morning. The land itself seemed to breathe in whispers, keeping secrets buried beneath layers of rock, clay, and time. Among those secrets was a story that few dared to recount in detail, the tale of the mysterious woman who died on the ranch and left behind no trace of her passing. No footprints, no belongings, not even the faintest clue of her life. Only the echo of her presence remained, unsettling everyone who stepped foot on the ranch thereafter. The first sightings long, before her death was spoken of, Locals told of a lone figure wandering the edges of the property. She was described differently depending on who caught a glimpse of her. Some said she was a pale woman in tattered clothing, her dress caught in the desert wind. Others swore she appeared regal, her silhouette upright and commanding, as though she belonged to another century. She never approached. She never spoke, always at a distance, always vanishing when followed. The ranch workers began to notice her most at dusk, when shadows stretched long across the ridges and the air cooled. Her outline would flicker at the edge of vision, dissolving into the tree line or folding into the rocks as though the land itself swallowed her. The discovery came not in a storm or under a blazing sun, but in a deceptively quiet dawn. The skies were a pale watercolor, and the ranch hands were tending to routine tasks when one of them stumbled upon her body near a cluster of boulders at the northern boundary. She lay on the earth as though she had simply lain down to rest and forgotten to wake. There were no wounds, no marks of violence, no signs of struggle. Her face bore no expression of pain, only an unreadable stillness.